Honourable Members, as a society, we need to confront reality. We relentlessly need to fight racism and discrimination. Visible discrimination, of course, but also more subtle. Racism and discrimination are unconscious biases. All sorts of racism and discrimination in the justice system and law enforcement, in our labour market and the housing market, in education and healthcare, in politics and migration. We should join forces at all levels: European, national, regional, local, public and private, business and civil society, and each of us individually as citizens, to build a Europe that is more equal, more humane, more fair. And let me be very clear, in our union there is no place for racism or any kind of discrimination. This is for sure. And honourable members, together we need to answer difficult questions. Why do racism and discrimination endure in our societies? Why are there political parties supporting xenophobia and racism that win elections? Why are members of ethnic and religious minorities underrepresented in political, social, and academic institutions and overrepresented in poverty, illness, and law enforcement statistics? What can we do in the fields of education, employment, healthcare, housing, and more to build an open, fairer, and more conscious society? What can we do so that our institutions better represent the diversity of our European societies? This is not the work of a sectoral policy, of a single person, or of a single commissioner. This is why I am here as President of the European Commission. I want to get to the bottom of these questions. Next week, we will have a structured debate on racism in college. And let us look around here in this very hemicycle. The diversity of our society is not represented, and I will be the first to admit things are not better in the College of Commissioners or among the European Commission staff. And this is why I say we need to talk about racism and we need to act. It is always possible to change direction if there is a will to do so. Let me take one small example of a small step in the right direction that I witnessed when I was Defense Minister in my home country. At the time in the German Armed Forces, a recruiting system had been in place for decades that always favored the same. We had some excellent candidates that would bring valuable assets to our armed forces, sometimes rare assets, like speaking Arabic or Farsi, but those assets were not valued, not at all. And in a mission abroad, such skills could save comrades' lives. But at the time, the attitude was, but the system doesn't allow for this, and we've never done this before. But then, analysis and reflection started and finally led the German armed forces to change the recruiting system, and it was to the better for the German armed forces. It was for the better for society. It now has become a fairer system for those soldiers. So we can change if there is the political will behind it. There is a way to do it. Honourable members, we need to talk about racism with an open mind. The good news is we do not start from scratch. In the European Union, discrimination is prohibited at the highest possible legal level. I mean our treaty, our Charter of Fundamental Rights, both on grounds of race and ethnic origin. We also have European laws against racism, ethnic discrimination and hate speech, our Racial Equality Directive, our framework decision on combating forms of expression of racism and xenophobia, to name just a few. We have cooperation tools involving experts from all member states, a high-level group on combating racism, xenophobia and other forms of intolerance, and a European network of equality bodies, here again, to name just a few. And we have European funds, but we need to try harder. I'm glad to live in a society that condemns racism, but we should not stop there. If we encounter it, we must sound the alarm and act immediately. And we must be aware that vigilance and awareness begin on a very small scale with each and every one of us. Awareness includes examining ourselves. Awareness includes speaking up in cases of discrimination. Awareness includes questioning privileges we may take for granted, which are anything but. Honourable Members, the motto of our European Union is united in diversity. Our task is to live up to these words and to fulfill their meaning, and this is why I'm looking forward to listening to you for a better Europe, united in diversity, unis dans la diversité, in Vielfalt geeint. Vielen Dank.
Grazie.